And it's a very warm welcome back to Superstars World of Racing for the final outing of the year for the Superstars V8's Round 8. Here we are, Race 2, 25 minutes plus one lap with Gianni Morbidelli uncatchable for the International Championship. But it's still all to play for, because he's now just 1 point ahead of Vitantonio Liuzzi for the Italian Championship. We've had 15 races out of 16, and here we are at a beautiful Vallelunga, just 20 kilometres, I don't even know if it's north or south. I think it's north of Rome. I think I drove north as I came out of the airport, and they started misty and even a little bit foggy, but the sun has really shone through. A huge amount of fans. There's the track we're racing on today, 4,085 metres, and that S1 section that you can see, that's the brand new section of the track. It's been with us now for a couple of years, but before that it was just a tiny little track. And on the starting grid, well, Donna Unlus are on track to defeat eating disorders such as anorexia and bulimia, and they've got a big special helmet for the winner here. In Italy, eating disorders apparently the leading cause of mortality and pain for young people, plunging millions into despair in families. So in an innovative way, really thanks to the invaluable support of Maurizio Flamini, who's the CEO of FG Group, we've been able to use the race as a metaphor for life, the straights of joys and the curves full of expectations and risks, adrenaline, wins, losses, pains and triumphs. And Elena Flamini's portrayed as a sort of a testimonial for Superstars drivers with the slogan, "He must win the life." And Nadia Assetti, who you just saw on the front row of the grid with that helmet, she's the founder of Donna, which is a non-profit organisation. She herself has suffered anorexia, bulimia, etc. Now she's happy. She wants to help other people affected by eating disorders to understand it's possible to overcome all of this. And they've got a special... Nadia Assetti with that special helmet, which is going out to the winner here today. The safety helmets will be presented by Nadia herself and Maurizio Flamini. Performed by Alessandro Bonetti, apparently, so that was created by Alessandro Bonetti. They're presenting that to the winner of the championship in order to make it clear that every one of us is a champion in life. So Gianni Morbidelli will be stepping out of that vehicle at the end of the race to collect an extra crash helmet as well. The Superstars World of Racing crash helmet with Donna Onlus. And there's Maurizio Flamini on the front row of the grid for this final race of the season. The race before this, well, it was a bit of nip and tuck, really. It was all down to Gianni Morbidelli, who was leading the championship, to keep safe and keep Tom Biaggi behind him, which he did. And Tom Biaggi's wingman, Vitantonio Liuzzi, out there to try to run interference, as it were, for Tom Biaggi. Really couldn't get into his game because he was chased and passed a couple of times and chased away and passed again and run away from by Andrea Larini, who basically, I think, Audi Sport Italia, instead of having the gods on their side for this race, brought in the devil. And Il Diablo himself was on track to help Gianni Morbidelli win the championship, which he's duly done. But as I said, the points at the moment work out that Gianni Morbidelli uncatchable on 226 points. Tom Biaggi behind him now on 181, incapable of catching him. And Vitantonio Liuzzi on 178. But if you just take the Italian rounds, there is an Italian championship. Monza, Portimao, Imola and Vallelunga. Yes, Portimao does qualify for the Italian championship. Vitantonio Liuzzi coming into this round was on 109 points. Gianni Morbidelli on 105. Tom Biaggi down on 67. Doesn't have a chance with this one. But due to the results in race 1, Vitantonio Liuzzi now on 118 points, Gianni Morbidelli on 119. So Gianni could actually walk away, if he finishes in front of Vitantonio Liuzzi here, will walk away with the Italian Championship as well. Race results from race 1, it was BMW 1-2 actually, the Team Dynamic duo of Giovanni Berton and Max Mugelli came first and second, with Gianni Morbidelli coming third. Andrea Larini passing Vitantonio Liuzzi and going away from him to take fourth. Liuzzi in fifth. Domenico Schiattarello and Francesco Cini finishing sixth and seventh for the Solaris team in the Chevrolet Lumina and Chevrolet Camaro. And then Mauro Trentin in eighth place. Now, For race 2, as is always in Superstars, the top 8 run in reverse order on the grid. And that can cause all sorts of wonderful things. Tom Biaggi, I spoke to him between races and asked him what happened on the last lap of the race. You noticed, if you saw the first race, that his Mercedes seemed to lose power on the last lap, coming out of the Roma curve, couldn't select a gear. But didn't seem to be able to get any drive whatsoever. I asked him whether it was a transmission problem. He wasn't giving anything away. He was just smiled and said, yeah, we had a little problem, we probably sorted out, hopefully. But didn't tell me what it was at all, which is unusual for Tom Biaggi. Let's see what he can do this time around. As I said... This time, unfortunately, and from the back row of the grid as well. The battle this time will be between Vitantonio Liuzzi and Gianni Morbidelli on the right-hand side of the grid as we get away. And Vitantonio Liuzzi will have the advantage. It's the red and silver Mercedes, second down on the right-hand side. Behind him, Gianni Morbidelli with the doors open on the with the Audi RS5. Here's the grid. Row 1, Trentin from Cini, Lorini and Morbidelli. Max Mugelli and Giovanni Berton on row 4. Sorry, missed out Vitantonio Liuzzi and Domenico Schiattarella because it was going so fast. Ascani, Biaggi, Buscemi and Baccarelli. Now, I don't think Leonardo Baccarelli's there. I don't see the other Mercedes on the... I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just getting the wrong count. But the Carl Racing have had 2 engine blow-ups so far at this meeting. They really don't want another one. I think it was Andy who was supposed to be on the grid, right at the back on row 7. Don't know if he's there. It looks like there is a car there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Yes, he is there. And hopefully they've sorted that. The car lost power, but it didn't blow an engine. Apparently the engine blowout in the first time when they changed the engine to get him racing, apparently that upset all the electrics, so they've been working on the electrics for Andrea Bacci. Unfortunately, Car Racing's Mercedes days don't seem to have worked throughout this season. Been very, very strong in seasons before, but this season just hasn't worked out for them at all. So let's see what they'll be doing for next year. Next year, lots of rumours going around about next year, but they are at the moment only rumours of places like Hockenheim and Sachsenring coming into the series. Nothing definite, and the calendar will be released at the end of November. So by that time, we should know what we're doing next year. We'll have a good old calendar going again, but nothing is set in stone until the end of November. We'll see what happens then. And a reminder that I did try to start to tell you before race 1 of that technical protest made by Audi against Romeo Ferraris at Donington on Mercedes. Well, Liuzzi and Biaggi were penalised with 10 grid positions for Imola, but on that occasion, Mario Ferraris did put in an appeal against the decision. The penalty's not been applied. The English National Court of Appeal, the jurisdiction is Donington, they'll decide in the next few days if and in which case which penalty will apply to Biaggi and Liuzzi. So here at Vallelunga we've elected a champion, but keeping in mind that the court's decision could change the rankings below Gianni Morbidelli, because Gianni Morbidelli won't be penalised by this, but Liuzzi and indeed Tom Biaggi could be penalised. And remember, behind them in the points is Giovanni Berton. He's on 174 points, Vitantonio Liuzzi on 178, Tom Biaggi on 181. So that could change. Berton could get up into the top 3, maybe even second in the championship, depending on what applies from that ruling. And I do not know when we will get the result of that ruling. Anyway, so far, I think I've given you all the news I've got. What else has happened? Yes, I said two engines so far for car racing this weekend. I haven't liked that at all. Morbidelli, 1 point ahead in the Italian Championship. So it's between Morbidelli and Liuzzi for this race for yet another championship, the Italian side of things. They still carry the same weights. Vitantonio Liuzzi on 50 kilograms, Morbidelli 50 kilograms, so that's evened them out on the race. But apart from that, it is an open race. This is the kind of race that all these drivers have been looking forward to, because there is no thinking about what's going to happen. It's just straight, go out there and show everybody what they can do. Francesco Cini carrying an extra 10 kilograms as well. We'll see what happens. Being led around by the pace car, remind you, Mauro Trentin with the Team Dynamic BMW is leading them away from Francesco Cini. Mauro Trentin, right as the pace car comes in, Mauro Trentin on the left-hand side with the silver wing mirrors alongside Francesco Cini, and then it's Schiattarella and Liuzzi and Lorini and Morbidelli together, both those Audis together, as Mauro Trentin waits for the lights to change from, and they've gone to green. Mauro Trentin's got his foot down, but Cini's got a lot of power. Schiattarella's gone with him as well, wants to take Trentin immediately on the straight, down to the Cimini curve. Oh, Trentin's been spun out almost onto the grass there, and look at Liuzzi. Liuzzi is trying to get round the outside as well. He knows he's going to be under threat from both of those Audis behind him. He's got past as well, so brilliant stuff for Liuzzi. That's what he needs to do to stay ahead in his chase for the Italian Championship. Mauro Trentin down to 4th place, and it's Lorini, and I think Morbidelli's coming under threat from Giovanni Berton, possibly on the outside. Didn't quite catch what that car was, but Cini out in the lead. Domenico Schiattarella, well, he stayed with him, and the one thing that hasn't happened, yes, Morbidelli has been passed by Giovanni Berton. This is going to be difficult for him. Morbidelli, I remind you, is carrying not only the extra weight, but the engine restrictions and the altered ride height that really does start to affect vehicles like this. Still struggling for grip with Cini coming out of there in front of Schiattarella. He's in the lead, but who knows how long he can keep this, because he has been struggling for grip through race 1. Hopefully those tweaks that they've made will let him keep ahead. And look at this, the Camozzi badged RS5 trying to have a go at number 5 as he comes round. That's Max Mugelli in front of him, in fact. Max Mugelli and just behind him, number 4, Giovanni Berton. So it was Mugelli who got in front of Berton. Always getting those two mixed up. Max Mugelli with the red wing mirrors on the BMW. The blue wing mirrors belong to Giovanni Berton. And look at the stretching out here. And look at this, Andrea Lorini's really going for it on Domenico Schiattarella. But he doesn't have the power. Remember, this engine is restricted as well as Gianni Morbidelli's. The restriction applies across the range of RS5s. So, whoa, a little bit of smoke there in front of, from Giovanni Berton, I think it was. A little bit of smoke out of the tyres. But, look at it, Gianni Morbidelli up the inside of Mauro Trentin. He's got past there. Needs to do a lot more. Ooh. Outside ways for Giovanni Berton. And Cini, well, he's got his wingman holding up Andrea Lorini behind him. Lorini's trying desperately to get past Schiattarella. Hasn't been able to do it at the moment. Number 54, Andrea Bacci, right at the back with Ascani behind him. Then Buscemi's parked it. He's out of the race. Baccarelli out of the race. So we've lost 2 already. Baccarelli, the other car racing, Mercedes, already out of the race. Didn't think I saw it there at the start, so I wasn't able to start. He's got past, though, as Andrea Lorini. He's got past Domenico Schiattarella, and is now after Francesco Cini. Wouldn't this be a turn-up for the books if Andrea Lorini actually came away here with a win? But look at that, Gianni Morbidelli once again trying to give a hard time to Max Mugelli. Max Mugelli on the inside shouldn't have been able to let Morbidelli pass. Morbidelli went past him on the outside, and now once again he's right behind the person who's just 1 point behind him in the Italian Championship. Let's have a look at this again. A little bit of a tag, and Tom Biaggi on the outside of Gianni Morbidelli, but he's been left for dead. Gianni Morbidelli moving his way up past the BMWs. This driving around the outside of Max Mugelli. Max couldn't do too much because Morbidelli had turned in front of him. A little bit of a rub there, didn't affect him too much. Morbidelli, 4-wheel traction on the drive out, so it doesn't really matter Now look at this, Andrea Larini closing down on Francesco Cini. Meanwhile, Liuzzi's trying to get past Schiattarelli now because he knows that Morbidelli's right behind him, needs to stay in front of him, score the extra points to take the Italian championship. Once Gianni Morbidelli gets past, then Liuzzi has lost another championship and it will all be over. So he needs to keep him behind him. What Liuzzi wants to do is get past Domenico Schiattarella as soon as possible, and he hasn't been able to do that. Schiattarella, another ex-Formula One driver, with quite a bit of Formula One expertise here as well as Liuzzi, and of course Gianni Morbidelli. 70 starts in Formula One for Gianni Morbidelli, and hasn't been able to get past Liuzzi yet. I'm thinking that he can take his time about doing this, but I don't think he will. He'll have a. He could take his time, but he doesn't. Up the inside at the infamous Torrentino, there is really nothing you can do about that. One of the tightest hairpins in Superstars Racing. Morbidelli now in front of Liuzzi, and that means that Liuzzi's point of view is gone in the Italian Championship, and unless Liuzzi can get past him on the straight, we've seen in race 1 that he was able to do that with superior power. And Morbidelli just turns that much heavier car himself. And this is the power on the straight. Domenico Schiattarella will have this easily. That big Chevy Lumina engine, old American muscle over Ingolstadt. I was going to call it power, but you can't really call it power because it's a restricted engine now. It's certainly handling well. Gianni Morbidelli, at least he's got rid of Liuzzi so far. Liuzzi can't do anything about it, even in a straight line. And he's passed. Even just looking at that, he's passed. And just needs a corner to do it. Gianni Morbidelli on the charge. Larini's in front of him. Morbidelli it is up to third place. And Liuzzi's on a charge for him as well. So it goes past Domenico Schiattarella and the two BMWs. Side by side, past him, and who's gone way out into the dirt? I think it's Giovanni Berton who's gone out into the dirt there with the blue wing mirrors. Liuzzi now heads Domenico Schiattarella. More sophisticated Mercedes in front of the old American muscle car of the Chevrolet Lumina. Tom Biaggi mired down in the pack. He doesn't like this at all. 8th place. It is so unusual to see Tom Biaggi down here behind Giovanni Berton, and in front of Mauro Trentin it's just Bacci Ascani. No, I think Ascani might have stopped as well, so I think there's only 10 cars on the track at the moment. Whoa, did you see Morbidelli go so wide there? Definitely trying to put the power on as they go into the Roma curve. Came wide out of the S's. Now down onto the Roma curve, down onto the main straight. Cini should have the power here, should be able to keep Larini behind him. Larini would just be looking for a way through in the tight and twisty stuff. And he's driving. I'm going to say he's in the Audi's pit garage, and you can see it by the way he's driving. Absolutely furious out there. Andrea Larini, desperate for this victory. And we'd love to put one over on new Superstars world champion Gianni Morbidelli. Francesco Cini with the power of the Camaro. No lacking in the power department, that, but definitely lacking in handling. There's a little bit of smoke coming out the back. It could be another problem with that transmission, because they did say that the differential really did overheat for qualifying. To put a new one in for the race, they said we haven't been able to test. Let's hope we hold it together. But a lot of smoke coming out of the back of that vehicle. Whereas Andrea Larini is still trying to chase him. There's that wide line taken by Giovanni Berton in his battle with Max Mugelli. Having another look at that. Max Mugelli up the inside. Giovanni Berton left out on the grass. And 16 and a half minutes left plus 1 lap. Andrea Larini is not giving up on this. Francesco Cini trying to make that wide Chevy Camaro even wider, but look who's caught both of them. Gianni Morbidelli, and Andrea Larini would have loved to have got past before Morbidelli caught him, but look at the gap that Morbidelli's pulled over the rest of the field. Liuzzi so far down now. Liuzzi nearly 4 seconds off this furious pace at the front, and Francesco Cini will be saying to himself, I want to finish this race. I want a podium out of this race. I'm worried about what's happening with the temperature in his differential. We did see smoke coming out of the back of that car. Let's see if we see any more as he goes around. Could be a problem there. Andrea Larini knows that Morbidelli's behind him now. Morbidelli right in his wing mirrors. Andrea Larini, well, you got to do it or get out of the way. Oh, a little bit of tyre background there. Oh no, that's Domenico Schiattarella. That wasn't tyre smoke, that's engine smoke. So Schiattarella with the Chevrolet Lumina, he's out of the race. So everybody moves up a spot. Andrea Larini, well, he's had 2 laps chasing. You see that dust or whatever it is coming out. I don't know whether it's exhaust or whatever it is coming out the back of City. He hasn't heard the power at the moment. Maybe it's just a particularly dirty exhaust, but you don't have that in this kind of racing. You don't have that. Sweet engine, oh, up the inside. Oh, the devil has really gone for that. And look at that. Parked it right in front of City. And Morbidelli says, thank you very much. You've gone in far too hot. Larini went in far too hot. That was ridiculous. That was unbelievable. To be able to keep that together and carry on racing as well. And I know for certain he didn't cut across City and try to slow him down and let Gianni Morbidelli pass. He was going for it, definitely. And I think he'll be chasing Morbidelli down on this. Look at this. Oh, this is a replay of a little bit of bumping and barging between Max Mugelli and Giovanni Berton a little bit further down. Slap to the inside. Leave the braking until, oh, I don't know, until you see a different country. And he parked it. He did park it in front of Francesco Cini. That allowed Gianni Morbidelli to get through. And, well, look at the devil on this. Parked it. Didn't even put the drive down. Andrea Larini nearly got sideswiped by Gianni Morbidelli there. Oh, I think words will be had between Francesco Cini and Andrea Larini. I think Andrea Larini, a seriously bad boy here today. They kept Larini behind him, Cini behind him. So Cini goes from first to third. Larini stays where he is in second place, but now it's Gianni Morbidelli at the front. After the Italian Championship as well as the International Championship, he's already got Andrea Larini playing the wingman in a way, and he's definitely not chasing down Gianni Morbidelli. He's just running away from Cini now. Well, he's... Where are we? The interval is 3 seconds in front of Antonio Liuzzi. He'll want to keep that. He's got 13.5 minutes to do it. He wants a podium out of this. Andrea Larini has proved race upon race that this is one person that you don't... And you see the bodywork damage on the right-hand side of the car, as we saw it there, the front. Left-hand side as you look at it now. A little bit of damage there. But it hasn't slowed him down a bit. And... I think that's Buscemi still going around in the blue 550i. Needs to get out of the way. Antonio Liuzzi, best of the rest, in fourth place, leads Max Mugelli and Giovanni Berton across the line. So Mugelli and Berton are involved in their own particular race here. Max Mugelli, the best of it so far. Giovanni Berton left a little bit. Tom Biaggi behind all these, down in 7th place. Then it's Mauro Trentin, Andrea Bacci and Francesco Ascani. And that pesky 550i in the way. So Buscemi, number 56. Tony Course, BMW. Really long in the tooth for this kind of company. Number 5, Max Mugelli. If you can't win the race, first beat your teammate. And Giovanni Berton, again, taking a wide line, pushing hard to catch Max Mugelli. Max is difficult to catch on a good day, but he doesn't often have. He's not consistent enough to have good day after good day. With Antonio Liuzzi, well, the fastest lap of the race, time to have a look at that, is Gianni Morbidelli on lap 4, 142.408. Both Mugelli and Giovanni Berton just posted their fastest laps of their race so far, not the race. They're in the 43s, and in front of them, it's Cini and Liuzzi are doing 44s. So far, that last lap, the battle and Berton has meant they could close up on Liuzzi, and close up they have indeed. Liuzzi, well, it's all over for him with Morbidelli out in front. He knows there's no way that he can even salvage the Italian championship out of this. He's got power, but he certainly hasn't got a machine suited to the tight and twisty confines of most of the Vallelunga track. 4,085 metres and only that big straight through Curvone, or curve number 1. That, although it looks a little bit closer, Liuzzi, Mugelli closed right up on him. So not only has he got to think about closing down on City, he's got to watch out for those pesky BMW M3s behind him. But now he knows that Lorini's gone past Morbidelli. If Liuzzi can do anything about City, if he can close down on that, he might think that Gianni Morbidelli's got a problem. So with 8.5 minutes left of this race, Liuzzi is starting probably to think that there might be a chance. There might be a chance. Let's see. Oh, Bacci's gone. Well, 2 engine blow-ups, and he's had a crash. That's some serious damage at the back of that car racing Mercedes. And Carl, well, the problems go from bad to worse here. City has got past Gianni Morbidelli now, and at a place where we wouldn't have thought it possible, Francesco Cini just moved himself up into second place. There we go. Ask the power. Go sideways. Let's have a look at the barrier. Aye. Well, that'll have rattled his teeth. No end. Andrea Bacci, lock up. And both front and rear damaged. But look at this. Now Liuzzi is right behind Gianni Morbidelli and can see a chance of at least taking the Italian championship away from this. He needs to finish in front of Gianni Morbidelli to take the Italian championship. The 4 races that can... Oh, no, you don't do it by that. Cutting the corner hard and fast and using the power to get up the inside. What's happened to Morbidelli's car? Well, Liuzzi in front now, and if it stays like this, Liuzzi has got the Italian championship in the bag, because he will finish with more points than Gianni Morbidelli. And Morbidelli is in trouble. Morbidelli has slowed dramatically. Both of the BMWs have gone past Gianni Morbidelli, the final race of the season. Well, he'll be thinking to himself, thank goodness I've got the international race sewed up, the international championship for 2013. I've really wanted the brace, the set, the complete set with the Italian championship, but well, he's slowing all the time. And now Tom Biaggi sees Gianni Morbidelli, just goes past him. Morbidelli thinking to himself, well, just finish this race if we can. Don't know what happened to the car, can't see anything dramatic. It's just lost a lot, seems to have lost a lot of power. And Tom Biaggi making mistakes that he doesn't need to make again at Torrentino. But power gets him out of trouble there as he goes a little bit wide. Gianni Morbidelli way down now in 8th place. There's only Mauro Trentin and Francesco Ascani behind him. Look at that. Tom Biaggi just thinking that I really don't know what to think. What's happened to Gianni Morbidelli? He's still there in the hunt. But the hunt for what? And both BMWs chasing hard. Burton and Mugelli now. Giovanni Burdon in front of Max Mugelli. The war of the teammates goes on. They're just behind Vitantonio Liuzzi. Last time, well, on a par with what Liuzzi was doing. Liuzzi's trying to chase down Francesco Cini. Both times on a par on the last lap. It's Max Mugelli and Giovanni Burton both together. Max Mugelli waving his hand. Get out of the way, he's saying, I think. So, well, Francesco Cini now coming under attack from Vitantonio Liuzzi to give him his full name. Liuzzi, 144.723. Cini, 144.744. Not much in it where power's concerned. When you get to the corners, these BMWs are starting to close. 1.5 seconds was the gap between Liuzzi and Berton last time around. You can see it's closer than that now. Gianni Morbidelli still there. He's doing 1:48, so 5 seconds down on what he's capable of doing around here. He did do, well, nearly 6 seconds. In fact, fastest lap was to Morbidelli, 42.4. So what he's doing 1:48, we do not know. Tom Biaggi driving furiously in attack on Max Mugelli. Meanwhile, Morbidelli's dropping back all the time. Lurini, 3.3 seconds in the lead now from Francesco Cini. Liuzzi trying to chase down on Cini. Slightly faster by 0.4 of a second that last time around, but he really does need to be because Giovanni Berton was 0.9 of a second faster than Cini, and it was all squashing up at the top while Lurini just runs away. Lurini out of our picture and already past Buscemi, who's in the 550i, who's I think designated the rolling roadblock around here. But Cini now really under threat because Liuzzi is gunning for him. And this is just pure racing, not doing this for points at all. This is just you against me, pal. Sophisticated German machinery against just brute power of American muscle. With the BMWs, highly developed BMWs, ideally suited to this track, closing both of them down. And Cini down to the Torrentino hairpin. Out of the Torrentino hairpin they go. Up through the S's. Quick left-right flick. Power on down to Roma. Roma's a long curve. Oh, look at that. Giovanni Berton again using all the track and more. He's running away from Max Mugelli. Mugelli under threat from Tom Biaggi. And it's possible Tom could have a go at him on the straight. But Berton on Liuzzi now. Won't be able to do anything in a straight line. The Mercedes will run away from the BMW, but he closed right up on him. And Cini still under threat. Times across the line last time around. Lurini 45.5. Cini 45.2. Liuzzi 45.2. Just a tiny little bit faster. 2.3 for Liuzzi. For Cini, 2.1 for Liuzzi. So 0.02 of a second in it across there. There's Andrea Lurini. Well, you can tell a bad boy from the state he's in when he pulls into the pit lane at the end of the race. Having a look up the inside was Giovanni Berton, and that has put Antonio Liuzzi wide. So another place taken. So Liuzzi in his charge on Cini failed to keep Giovanni Berton behind him. And I tell you this, with 1.5 minutes left to go, Cini will be desperate to keep Berton behind him as well. 2.9 seconds the difference between Cini and Lurini. Maybe Giovanni Berton thinks if I dispose with Cini early, I can even have a chance of Andrea Lurini at the end. But you really don't want to get in a fight with Andrea Lurini. He's shown that through all the races he's been here. The one bad boy on the track, the one you can rely on to be the fox in the hen house. It's definitely going to be Andrea Lurini. Still Giovanni Berton behind Francesco Cini. Cini in second place, Berton in third, Liuzzi in fourth place, and not being able to do anything about this fight in front of them. Berton those closed right up on Cini very, very quickly as they go through Roma once again. They're across the line, penultimate lap. So he's got 2 laps, has Cini, to try to keep Giovanni behind him. He can do it on the power, that's easy. When you get to the corners, that's a bit more difficult. Good try from Cini, but he hasn't made that car wide enough. And around the outside goes Giovanni Berton. Well, poor old Cini, he's only got that extra 10 kilos of handicap weight, but unfortunately Giovanni Berton's on a mission, a serious mission, because he's looking at this thinking that, well, I've got this lap and one more to do anything about Andrea Lurini in front of me. If I can do that, I will get both race wins. But look at Cini. Cini's not giving up. Up the inside. Oh, that was very, very tasty. And an almost chance of doing that as well. Giovanni Berton closed the door on him. And Well, Cini thought discretion a better part of Valle here. I don't want to damage this car again, but he's really going for it. Doesn't like the way Berton went past him, and he's going to use the power of that Chevrolet Camaro to do something about it. Maybe even pull himself up on Andrea Larini. He's only got this plus one more lap to do it. Cini and Giovanni Berton, and that was Liuzzi out wide. Again, outbraked himself. Didn't lose a place though, because Mugelli and Biaggi are right behind him. Mugelli, the meet in a Romeo Ferraris Mercedes sandwich. And through the twisties, Berton's BMW has eked out a gap over Francesco Cini as they come across the start and finish stripe for the next lap. It will be the very, very last lap. Liuzzi gathered himself all together, keeping Mugelli and Biaggi behind him. Larini across the stripe, on to the final lap. And Berton goes across the stripe. Then it's Cini, but Cini's 1.2 seconds behind him. He's got this straight to make up a little bit of that deficit, but then they get into the twisty stuff. He needs to get past Giovanni Berton before they get to the infield section. After they get out of Campagnano, he really needs to get up next to him by that time, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Larini out in front, Giovanni Berton second, Francesco Cini third, but he's not under threat from Vitantonio Liuzzi. Liuzzi's a little bit too far. And Cini hasn't been able to close that gap on Berton, and Berton hasn't been able to close down Andrea Larini. Nowhere near enough. Last lap around, he was only 0.2 of a second. Sorry, he wasn't. It was a second, 1.2 seconds a lap faster. But he still will run out of time around here. Oh, coming down to Cerate, I think. If I get this one right, Cerate, then they go into Trinchia and come into the infield section. And that's where the Audi RS5 rules supreme. The damaged front of Andrea Larini's Buffalo sponsored. It's a restaurant, by the way, with some serious bouncers, I would imagine. Looking at the sides of Andrea Larini into Torrentino for the very last time. Out of Torrentino, and Giovanni Berton unable to do anything about these final corners. Cini will retain third place because Liuzzi's nowhere near there. And look at this. Oh, well, Tom Biaggi's gone past Gianni Morbidelli. Morbidelli's having a fight on him, but for the final race of the season, out of the Roma curve and across the line, and just finally, by the skin of his teeth, Andrea Larini takes race 2 victory here at Vallelunga. Giovanni Berton in second place. Cini holds off the rest of the field to finish third. Liuzzi in fourth place. Max Mugelli, Tom Biaggi almost together across the line. Gianni Morbidelli limps home in seventh place, but it really doesn't matter. Morbidelli will not be the Italian champion, but he has the big one, the International Championship, International Superstars Championship, and it was gloves off for this round. Andrea Larini gave him all the chances in the world to get away, but then saw that Gianni Morbidelli was losing power, went to the front and just ran away. Giovanni Berton, one of the best races I've seen all season. And his fight through the field, one more lap and he would have caught Andrea Larini, but there wasn't another lap to go. Andrea Larini, your victor here in race 2. And always the showman, Andrea Larini, a famous Spider-Man helmet. And there's Gianni Morbidelli. He's parked it. It doesn't matter. He is International Superstars Champion 2013. And you really should just leave everybody else to have a look at what's going on inside the engine. But he wants to have a look himself. He's undoing all the clasps for the hood of the car and taking off. Andrea Larini taking the plaudits of a very big crowd here at Vallelunga for the final race of the season. And we've had even Formula 3 here as well, but the crowds all packed the grandstands for this, the big one, Superstars V8s. And Andrea Larini has certainly given them a spectacle this weekend in race 2. As he cruises home, Giovanni Berton, though, that was some struggle from, well, down on the 4th row of the grid, with much faster cars in front of him as they pull down into the pit lane. And Gianni Morbidelli, he would have liked that Italian championship, the brace of victories, but if the car is going to let him down, let him down after he's won the international championship, and he's got it. There's your finish. Larini from Berton, Cini, Liuzzi, Max Mugelli, Tom Biaggi, Gianni Morbidelli, Mauro Trentin, Francesco Ascari, and Buscemi. Bacci, Scatarella, Baccarelli, not really classified. Yes, Baccarelli and Scatarella both had their problems. Baccarelli into the wall, Scatarella with his... he wanted that. Andrea Larini with a different helmet to the one I normally see him with. Always getting new helmet designs is Andrea Larini. And onto the roof for this one. The devil is back. In black. And this is one happy man. He wanted a podium from here. Ideally, he wanted a little bit higher than that. But Larini wasn't to be denied. Neither was Giovanni Berton at the end of the day. And he really did fight with Giovanni Berton. That's Francesco. Tom Biaggi won the championship, both the Italian and Superstars International, way back in 2009, 2010. I do apologise. And Andrea Larini, oof. I wish his English was better so I can figure out what he's doing on track sometimes, but take no prisoners. Most definitely. Who else would dress all in black? Fastest lap though, Gianni Morbidelli gets another point for that. And so extends at the front of the championship, but what a turn up for the books with Morbidelli confirmed as champion before this race began. And Tom Biaggi not only losing second place, but going all the way down to fourth, with Giovanni Berton up into second place in the championship. It's Antonio Liuzzi staying in third. And the big loser in all of this, Tom Biaggi. Not only that, but Mercedes have lost their chance of having two people in the top three. So Francesco Cini over the moon with that. At the start of the race, Giovanni Berton wasn't on the front row of the grid. This time it was Mauro Trentin with Francesco Cini alongside of him. Francesco Cini and his teammate Domenico Scatarella getting out into the front with their power first of all. And poor old Gianni Morbidelli way back in the pack at this time in the race. Andrea Larini, which was Morbidelli's wingman, starting to move his way through the pack. And Domenico Scatarella first taken by Antonio Liuzzi, while both BMWs of Max Mugelli and Giovanni Berton were fighting tooth and nail behind them. And Morbidelli had moved his way through. And then late in the race, it was Andrea Larini who got in front of Cini to take first place away from him, but let Gianni Morbidelli through. A little bit later on in the race, though, Gianni Morbidelli started losing a little bit of power, and Andrea Larini saw his chance to pounce and almost taken Gianni Morbidelli out at the time. Andrea Bacci, well, the car racing team, they just carried on having problems all season. Then Gianni Morbidelli, well, serious problems with the car. He just managed to finish the race, though, but everybody passed Gianni Morbidelli. It wouldn't matter for the championship at the end of the day, but he would lose out on the Italian championship. I still think Antonio Liuzzi has got that, but I can't confirm it because I haven't seen the points. Meanwhile, the two BMW guys were going at it hammer and nails, and Giovanni Berton was really pushing all the way through and managed finally to get past Francesco Cini and relegate him to third place. But there was no catching Andrea Larini at the end of the day. Had enough in hand to cross the finish line and take race 2 victory in the final race of the year to Andrea Larini, with Giovanni Berton in second place and Cini getting the podium he really wanted in third place. So, What a season it has been. I could go through the season again, but I've already done that through the first round of the championship. And it seemed that Mercedes were going to have it all their own way for the first 2 rounds of the season at Monza and Brno. And then things started to go wrong for them and things started to come right for Gianni Morbidelli. A couple of very poor finishes. But we got on to Zolder and Portimao and Donington. And the Audi started to reign supreme, especially when the weather coming to their aid in Imola, when everybody thought the Mercedes would run away with the Imola race and it would all come down to Vallelunga, but the rain came out and Imola belonged to Gianni Morbidelli. Kisses from Lucien Douglas as City goes through there. Giovanni Berton on the second row and Andrea Larini up on top.
E poi per gli star driver Francesco Ascani.
Francesco Ascani coming through onto the podium again, star driver, and the best of the older drivers out there. National anthem for Andrea, well, for everybody, really. It's been a brilliant race, and Andrea Larini has certainly livened it up a little bit here today. And once again, superstars girls there, Lucien Douglas on the right-hand side, and Daniela, lovely Daniela, on the left-hand side. As the trophies get handed, Stefano Morganti to Francesco Cini for 3rd place. There's Christian Grasso, helped out with the Solaris team. Giovanni Berton having a quick look at what it says on the cup. And Andrea Larini, but his sponsors would be very happy with that. Tantra Bar and Daniel Design helmet, brilliant. And of course Buffalo. And Francesco Ascani with his cup for the best star driver of the day again, and he'll walk away with the star driver champion for the entire season. Audi Sport Italia taking their cup as well. And the photographers, of course, getting in there. This is the final race of the season. Everybody shouting at them, turn this way, turn that way. Shake your cup, give us a smile. It's been a long, long season for these guys. And at the end of the day, it's worked out very well for them. Cini's got what he wanted to show the world what the Chevrolet Camaro can do. His father Roberto just in the middle there. Ascani, the first ever champion back in 2004, getting a bit of the Banfi Spumante down his neck. The wrong way as far as he's concerned. And the big cups, I can see, starting to make their appearance here for the championship. The big cup for the overall Superstars champion. If we can get him from the back of the circuit where he was, where he left the car. And the girls await the arrival of the 2013 champion. Maurizio Flamini of FG Sport will be presenting this. Here he is. Maurizio, always the one who was the car racer of the two brothers. Your 2013 champion, Gianni Morbidelli, international superstar champion, getting a face full of champagne and bubbles. Get up there, says Maurizio Flamini. Brother Paolo ran superbikes, but Maurizio won superstars. 2013 and a worthy champion for Gianni Morbidelli. A long career in Formula One racing with Minardi, Footwork and Ferrari. He joined Superstars back in 2006 as an Audi factory driver. Born in Pesaro, won titles in 2007 and 2008 for Audi, but then again he sort of ran out on them a little bit. Moved to BMW, running a BMW M3 Cruise to dominate the 2009 season. He won both the Italian and International Superstars Championships. Back with Audi, and yet another championship under his belt. He knew he was on a chance for this. The last round in Imola when he held up the hand of five championships.
Adesso passiamo a un altro premio Maurizio Flamini e Nadia Accetti che consegnano il casco che aveva parlato prima di questa bellissima Onlus.
And presented
Morbidelli, questa associazione Donna e Donna,
with the Superstars helmet from Donna Onlus.
Un lavoro importante ed è una foto di gruppo con Gianni Morbidelli, Nadia Accetti e Maurizio Flamini.
And Nadia Accetti on along with Maurizio Flamini.
Tutto il giorno ci ha guardato, ha visto le gare.
Making it clear that every one of us is a champion in life. And Roberto Piccini taking the obligatory photographs, and this is the one that gets blown up large and is displayed prominently. Anytime you win an international championship like this, well, it means a whole season of work has come good, not just for Gianni Morbidelli, but for the entire Audi Sport Italia team and his own personal sponsor, Camozzi. Had a lot to do with this, big play in this, and Gianni Morbidelli, we've seen some stupendous driving from him this season, as we always do. Sometimes you think that there's nobody can do what Gianni Morbidelli can do, the way he drives. When he drives around people, there's not even a touch there as he went past Max Mugelli. Meanwhile, another former Formula One driver, Vittorio Liuzzi. Well, he did intend for this to be his year for the championship. Didn't contend with the likes of another Formula One driver from years past, Gianni Morbidelli, who's still got the heart of Formula One in the ball. It's scary. Domenico Schiattarello, as he went past him there. Domenico, a little bit of a twitch to get out of the way. But it's been brilliant for all of them out there. The Team Dynamic BMWs have shown what they've still got the class to run with this kind of field. Need to get some new vehicles underneath them, though. You won't be seeing the Chevrolet Lumina next year. That will be retired. There'll be a brace of Chevrolet Camaros out in front. But I can tell you this, the RS5s will definitely be back. It would be nice to see a lot of these drivers back with us as well. I don't think Andrea Bacci might not be one of them. had a whole series of problems this season of Carl Racing going from being one of the top teams in the championship, looked like definite also rans for 2013. But we'll go away from here, from Vallelunga, and await the calendar for next year. As I said, rumours are saying things like Hockenheim and Sachsenring. There's the points at the end of the day. Giovanni Berton moving up into second, Liuzzi in third, Biaggi down to fourth, Gigi Ferrara not here, stuck in fifth place. But Gianni Morbidelli will rule for the rest of what season there is left until next year, when we'll start to choose a new champion. Gianni Morbidelli, the champion on 2013 in Superstars. Until next year in Superstars, this is Clyde Chase McNeil saying, I'll see you then.